Well, more now on one of our other top stories, the Rob Ford scandal. There are lots of calls in and outside Toronto City Hall for the mayor to resign, but despite his scandals, Ford's voter appeal appears to be holding. A recent survey by Forum Research found he has a 44% job approval rating. And earlier, I spoke to Forum Research President Lorne Bozinoff about Ford's numbers.
I know it sounds strange to say the support's that high, and that is a fairly high rating, especially for him, but that's a rating of his job performance as mayor. And when people will answer that question, they're going to look back at what he's done in the last 3 years, starting with the end of the vehicle tax and the privatization of garbage, right up to the building of the Scarborough subway. So all that is factored into that, and they're going to say, you know what, he kind of has delivered on what he said he was going to do, so I have to give him a fairly good approval rating.
Well, let's take a look at Rob Ford's approval rating over the last calendar year, because we've taken your company's polling numbers from November to November, and if you look at the chart here, it fluctuates, it seems, from about a high of 50% to what, a low of maybe about 39, 38. That's fairly consistent, is it not, for a mayor? And that seems to be despite all the controversy and the polarizing effect that Rob Ford has amongst voters. What does that tell you about the loyalty of his supporters?
Well, that's a common range for mayors within the country. So if you look at the top 15 largest cities in the country, that's typically the type of ratings that they get. His ratings, though, do vary a lot from month to month, as your chart shows. They can tremendously plunge and rise from month to month. His numbers are very, very sensitive to what's going on in the city and what he's doing that week or that month. So he had some good months, like the Scarborough subway is an example. When that came through, in Scarborough, we had a 55% approval rating. So it's very, very driven by what's going on in the city at the time.
At what point do the actions and allegations of the video and the crack cocaine, at what point does that affect his supporters, do you think?
Well, they're called the Ford Nation, and there's a good reason. They're very, very loyal. They've stuck with him through thick and thin. He's been he's 3-0. He's had 3 allegations. He had the slander allegation, he had conflict of interest allegation, a third one. He's 3-0. He was 3 up, and he won all 3 of those. So for the Ford Nation, there is an idea within the nation that the media's picking on him. These charges aren't really true. They don't really care about the charges. And this could be another case of that. So far, we haven't seen the straw that's going to break the camel's back in terms of the loyalty of the Ford Nation.
61% of respondents to your poll say that he should resign. 65% say that he should go into rehab. How do you interpret those numbers, that they can approve of a man who the vast majority of people still think should step down?
Well, the approval numbers are looking at what's gone on in the past. Up until today, looking at the last 3 years, what kind of a job has he done? And they're going to get those ratings in the 44%. But going forward, what's the next step? What should happen tomorrow? A large number are going to say he should resign or go into rehab.